Smarterfan. Hey, everybody, welcome to another segment of Smarterfan Podcast, where we bring you behind the veil of sports, business, and life. I'm Joe, and this is Barry, and it was a great weekend for sports, Barry.
Oh, yeah, my friend. Man, I feel like I just left you. We just left the facility. But we were at Stepinac High School, and we had a great time, talked to a lot of great people, and we're going to share that with you, Smarterfan family. It's going to be, as always, a great show. So you kick it off, my friend.
Yeah, man. Well, first of all, it was the second annual Malcolm Koonce football camp, and the turnout was very, very good. Like last year, and
For sure.
the coaches, they had the coaches there putting the kids through the drills, and
Mm-hmm.
and the kids seemed to be having a good time, and there were even some girls in the camp.
Yeah. Giving the boys a run for their money,
You
doing
know,
the drills. Yeah.
yeah. So, and I mean, there were kids there as young as 5.
Yep.
You
Yeah.
know, so it was well organized by the Koonce family as usual. And everything as far as food and drink and ice cream that was provided,
Mm-hmm.
by the Koonce family for the kids and everything. You
Mm-hmm.
know, so and we got to interview the patriarch of the Koonce family, Jeff Koonce.
Mm-hmm.
And he gave us some insight into the family background, you
Yeah.
know, and how he raised 7 kids
Yeah.
and put them through college,
Yeah. The man is
and
a hard worker.
yeah, that's right, and they all went on to be successful,
Yeah,
So hey, I tip my hat to the man.
absolutely. I mean, the conversation with him was it was so juicy. I almost wish we could have recorded it. But I think in time, when he gets a little bit more comfortable with us, that'll happen. That'll happen.
Mm,
I think, yeah, yeah.
yeah, because Jeff is a character.
I'm sure I could tell. I could see that.
Yeah, he's
I
a
could see that.
character. you know. So now we also got a chance to interview Coach
There you go.
Frank Spinelli,
Yes.
who he runs a 7-on-7 flag football league.
Yes, he does.
So and you said you were big on that.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of 7-on-7 because of just it's an alternative. I always think kids should get into contact as late as possible because it has it's very jarring to the body.
Mm,
And I'm always a big proponent that get your kids exposed to many sports. And then if they really want to play football, then I just really believe they really shouldn't play more than 2 to 3 years of high school football.
mm.
Um, with training and all that other stuff because it takes a toll on your body and you're growing. There's a lot of stuff going on. But we had a great conversation. We're going to continue to talk. Got to talk to some parents about Mad Dog 7-on-7. It's huge. It's growing. I
Yeah.
mean, Coach gave us a lot of insight. It started very small. He's from Elmsford. He's a Stepinac graduate. And it's just amazing. And so, we're going to talk about sponsorship and those things as well. Because I'm telling you, folks, sports is big business. I mean, there's so many soccer leagues, so many this league, so many of that league.
Mm.
It's really, we're going to shed some light on some stuff that's going to really, really amaze you. I mean, Cam Newton runs one of the most successful 7-on-7s in
Mm.
the country. And I mean, clearly Travis Hunter was one of his kids.
Mm.
So imagine your coach won the Heisman and then one of your players wins the Heisman, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
pretty unique, right? And so, and Cam is big on character, big on teaching kids life lessons, big on keeping it real. And, so we're going to talk more about Coach Spinelli and Mad Dog and 7-on-7 and we're going to have more about it because I'm really passionate. Because I think at some point somebody's going to come out with, like a Madden but a 7-on-7. Right? So a I don't want to give out the secret sauce, so I won't say that. But just imagine that, and being able to have different players from different eras, it can be really exciting. So yeah, we had a great time with Coach.
Yeah, that was a great conversation. It really was, you
Yeah.
know. And we also got to talk to Malcolm's older brother, Duan.
Durant, yes, the Mr. State Trooper par excellence, business owner, retired, kind of the lieutenant of the family. He was busy running around, keeping things together, gave us some great insight to the family, and Malcolm, he says, hey, Malcolm is really just a chill kid, as he's always been, you know,
Yeah.
and I shared with him that many times fans don't understand what the family goes through when they have
Right.
a
Right.
pro athlete in the family, and how you've got to kind of keep the leeches away, and it's very dynamic, and we're going to share that with you on Smarterfan podcast. You know, of those dynamics that families go through. For those who've got kids involved in sports, it's not all sunshine and smiles. It can be very challenging, very
That's
very
for
challenging.
sure. That's for sure. Speaking of challenging, the NBA Finals.
Oh Lord, oh Lord.
I mean, the Thunder, they finally pulled it out. I think what really hurt the Pacers was when Haliburton went down. I mean, yeah.
Well, go ahead. Let me listen to you. Let me listen to you.
I mean, because I know he wasn't the man, but he gave some big contributions, when they needed him. And I think it was just a major blow when he went down. Because go ahead.
No. You're right. It was, but again, I would have, and not trying to play Monday morning quarterback, because he's hurt. I'm not gonna make him the number one option, because they had they've beaten OKC using other people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you can't ignore him. You can't ignore Haliburton.
No.
But I think the secret sauce to Indiana is it can't be one person. They're far more dangerous when everybody's involved in the offense. Yeah. Everybody's involved in the defense. But these things happen, and they'll learn from it, they'll grow from it. But with that injury, I would have tried to limit him a little bit. You know what I mean? I would have tried to limit him a little bit, sprinkle him in, and then probably go, I got to have you the fourth quarter, and we're just going to ride it out, and whatever happens, happens. But you know what I'm saying? I would have kind of, massaged it that way.
Well, that injury always starts with the calf.
Yeah, and then I heard that he really damaged his Achilles.
Well, that's what happened. He blew out his Achilles because of the calf.
See what I'm saying?
That's what happened to Durant when he was playing with Golden State. The same thing. And same thing happened to Aaron Rodgers. It started with the calf, and then they blew out their Achilles. So now he's done for next year.
Man.
And I think so is Jason Tatum. He's done for next year also, because he has the same injury.
Yeah.
So
it's interesting.
But OKC now, the last time they won the championship, they were the Supersonics in '79.
Yeah.
So now I give them credit because they did what KD, Westbrook, and Harden couldn't do.
Man, you a hard guy. You are hard, Joe. Dad gone, man. Hey. You're gonna put that on them? You ain't gonna blame the coach or the front office or the ownership who couldn't figure out how to use them? You gonna blame them?
Hey, I'm not blaming them entirely, but you know how it goes.
Yeah, you hard, bro. You hard.
So now, speaking of Durant, Now, the Suns just agreed to a trade with the Rockets for him.
Okay.
You know, they're going to send him to the Rockets for Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, a number 10 pick, and this year's and 5 second-round picks. So,
Interesting.
And Houston was on his list of the teams that he would go to.
Yeah.
So, I think Miami and San Antonio were the other ones. So, and he's gonna be playing with Alperen Şengün and Amen Thompson and Fred Van Fleet. So,
what about Green?
No, Green is going to Phoenix.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. So he's gonna be with Devin Brooks.
Yeah, Green is going to Phoenix in that deal.
I don't know if that was a good idea. Anyway.
Well, we'll see. I mean, the Rockets won 52 games under Udoka.
Yeah, but the pieces that they're giving away are major pieces to that. Why that happened?
Yeah, well, this is what happens. And on a liner note, Obi Toppin, he was with the Knicks, didn't fit into Tibbs' box, and he wound up in the finals with the Pacers.
Well, I think what is frustrating people is not that Tibbs is gone, is that we didn't have a clear plan of who would succeed.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really the frustration, because it's those kind of things that really kind of like, oh, he'll get you close to the show, but he can't get you to the show.
Yeah,
and his players take a beating physically.
Yes, but I think the way it went down, it kind of had Dolan's fingerprints on it.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it. That's the major Achilles heel to the Knicks is Dolan, because all this time he still doesn't know anything about basketball. He's just what it is.
Well, at any rate, earlier in the week, the Lakers were sold for $10 billion.
What a shocker! What a shocker! I was so shocked. My phone was ringing. People were calling me. Barry, what do you think? I said, listen, go look at the interview of Mark Cuban and why he sold his majority stake in the Mavs, and that's all you need to know. The as he said, it got out of my expertise,
right?
Because now it's more than what's on the floor. It's this revenue stream and that revenue stream, and he said it just got into a lot of specialty areas that he doesn't have the expertise in. So he sold the majority. He gets to do what he loves: come to the games, root, cheer, be on TV, and still make money, but doesn't have to carry the heavy load.
Well,
so
Mark Walter, he's buying the team now. He was a minority owner in the team, and now he's taking over.
But he owns the Dodgers as well.
That's right. See, that's the thing. See, somebody even said, that the Lakers were being run like a mom and pop operation.
It was
right, and they couldn't keep up with everybody because all of these other owners have a few pokers in the fire.
Well, they have a few pokers in the fire, and they also have a different expertise.
Yeah,
the Buss family expertise was real estate with dad, right? That he leveraged over into the Lakers that became the linchpin, the family business. Yeah. And, the business just outgrew him. It outgrew it. And I mean, that's a very nice multiple, $10 billion.
Yeah, that's a hell of a profit considering that he bought the team for $67.5 million.
Man, you see what I'm saying? A storied franchise. Hey, they're gonna be all right. They're gonna be all right, bro.
Buster's still gonna run the team.
Yeah, because you don't have to do the heavy lifting now.
Right. Yeah.
She's got
Yeah.
somebody else to do the heavy lifting. I mean, she's the face.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, I
Definitely.
wouldn't get rid of her. I'd keep her right where she is. Let her be right out front. And my man Walter does what he does and his team. No,
Hmm.
it's a great win-win. I
Yeah.
mean, think about that. It's like imagine owning the Knicks and the Yankees. Oh Lord, you
Hmm.
know, and
Well,
the Rangers, right? So it's a good thing, and if you're gonna,
yeah.
that's the way to cash out. That's all I can say. If you're gonna cash out, that's the way to do it.
Definitely. Definitely. So, community sports.
Yeah. What about it?
What is community sports? And
Community sports is. I'll put it like this. There are many minor league teams in baseball.
mhm,
They're like stuck in these little small communities, right? You have the major team, the Braves or whatever, but like
right.
upstate New York, a time ago, you'd be able to go catch a game in the minor league in your state,
Mm,
right? So community sports has always been a big, big thing. And what I've noticed over the last 5 to 10 years, flag football for adults, flag football for kids,
mm,
soccer for kids, soccer for adults has
mhm,
just been continuing to grow, even at the pro level. I mean, it used to be just the World Cup. I have a New York Times article in this house somewhere. You should see the stadiums splattered all over Europe. These
mm,
are state of the art jewels.
mm.
And you're like, well, how much daggone soccer can you play? Oh, they playing a whole bunch.
Eh?
They're playing a whole bunch of soccer.
Mhm.
And I said, wow, this is really deep because it's easy to get 100,000 people in the stadium for soccer. You
Oh,
only
no
need a
doubt.
ball.
No doubt.
You only need a ball, right?
Yeah.
So you start to look at the metrics and the numbers. So community sports is become. I think people have begun to realize, or people in the know, or people who are paying attention, that man, if an NBA franchise or a pro franchise can generate this, and we can come up with a league of some sort, hey, we could
Mm.
generate some money with reasonable ticket prices and reasonable. And now that you got these phones, you can broadcast like you ESPN.
Yeah, right?
I mean, it's crazy. So now you're in the advertising game. You're in the sponsorship game, and we got a chance. We got a chance to talk with Coach Frank Spinelli, who's gonna be on the show. He runs Mad Dog 7-on-7 flag football. They're very successful. I mean, these kids are getting rings, Joe. They're getting
Yeah.
big trophies. They got great uniforms. It's big business.
Yes, it
It's
is.
big business. So we're going to talk about that. And so for people who are looking for an investment, it may be right under your nose
Mm.
to grow some capital because there's sponsors that are needed. There's all kinds of things that are needed. Kids are traveling, you know,
Oh, yeah.
all over
Yeah.
the place.
Yeah.
So it's a really, really great opportunity going forward for these kids and families and communities to bring in another revenue generator.
Mm. Well, speaking of investments, Travis Hunter, he just signed a 4-year deal with the Jags,
Yeah.
and he's going to play wide receiver and defensive back.
As he should.
And now the deal is worth 47 million, fully guaranteed,
Absolutely.
and with a $31 million signing bonus up front.
Lovely.
So
Lovely.
he's the first non-quarterback not drafted first overall to get his signing bonus entirely up front.
I had a conversation with a D1 coach today about that, and he agreed with me as well that the reality that why that's happening is because the money is so large.
Mm,
So what that basically means is the athletes got to come in pro ready.
yeah, yeah, like
And
we talked about.
like we talked about, you got to come in pro ready. So Travis is really coming in pro ready. People think he's going to be a slow start. It's not because he's been doing it for his career,
Mm.
right? So it's a matter of setting up the right packages, putting him in the right. Because think about it: if he's on offense, can you ignore him?
No.
You can't. He's on defense and he's playing corner. He's gonna be a problem, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
people say, well, he can't. He doesn't have to go full time both sides. He doesn't have to. But if he does, if he figures out a way to make that adjustment, that's a problem.
Hmm.
That's a
Yeah.
problem because it's like, and I said, if he's on the field on offense, you got to account for him. You can't just say, I got the tight end, count for the number one receiver, number two receiver, the back, and he's playing slot,
Mm. Yeah.
and you get him one on one, he gonna beat you. He's gonna
Hmm.
out jump you. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
And if I'm a one receiver or a two receiver or the tight end, I'm glad he's out there because I'm going to get one on one coverage because you got to pay attention to him. You see how it tilts the scale?
Yeah.
Because I don't need him for a whole series now.
Mm.
I may only need 2 or 3 plays to score a touchdown. He come off the field.
There
I
you
mean,
go.
he could just be a decoy. You got to pay attention to him.
Well, Deion, he played corner and he did kick returns among other things.
Deion had 3 jobs: kick returner, corner, and receiver.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I tell people. I said, you got to understand. And interesting you should say that because you've never heard anyone say, well, anything about Deion. And think he had 3 jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Travis is
Mm-hmm.
trying to just get 2.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So great point.
So
Great point.
so big business in elementary and high school sports.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about this a little bit because after talking with Coach Frank, um, I mean, we were at Stepinac High School and we didn't get to talk to him, but Theo Radcliffe, who used to play in the NBA, was
Mm.
there with his sons, and he's got to be 6'11". He's got to be almost 7
Yeah.
feet,
Yeah.
and his
Yeah.
2 sons were there, and they've got to be like 6'8", 6'9".
Yeah.
And you look at that and say, what's going on with Stepinac? I mean, if you really look at it, they've got a lot of kids who are getting recruited out of there, the D1 schools, great schools,
Mm. Yeah.
different situations. So, again, the big business. I mean, I used to catch the train up and get off in White Plains, and and I would see the kids coming up out of the Bronx,
Mm-hmm.
going up to White Plains,
Mm-hmm.
because Stepinac recruits heavily out of the city,
Yeah.
to get that talent. And a good friend of mine at work, Marjorie's son, um, they went upstate to get him, and it's really a business. And,
Oh yeah.
I seem to have more and more conversations with parents because I coach, and about understanding the business that you're involved in. It's not
Yeah.
just on the field; it's also off the field. It's also, figuring out the right fit. Educating yourself. You know, placing your child in the best situation. And really as a family determining, having those open conversations about, well, what do you want to do? Do you really want to take this to the pro level? And
Mm.
getting them early exposed to it is, I think, a big, big thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And let them get on a D1 campus. Let them see. Let them smell it, taste it, feel it. And I
Yeah.
think the other side of it is, and we'll get more into it, is that you don't necessarily have to be an athlete to be involved in sports.
No.
You can
No.
be a statistician. All those people you see on the sidelines of them NBA games, you could be from the announcer, from the guy who plays the piano, the organ at the Knicks game. That guy
Mm-hmm.
makes six. That guy makes 6 figures,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's all these other jobs besides being an athlete, and those people are going to be there 20 years, 30 years, probably and will have a longer career than most athletes on the floor. So think about that, making six figures. So I think it's important that people, begin to understand this. Sports is an industry. And there's many, many ways to fit in. Many ways. I mean, think about us. We were out there, like ESPN on the field with Coach Prime, doing our thing, talking to people live, a lot of fun, and that's part of this whole industry that's happening because of these amazing tools we have called phones.
Well, that's on top of the celebrities that went to Stepinac High School, like Alan Alda, John Voight, Captain Lou Albano.
Yeah.
But that's a story. That's a story for another day.
I know you want to get in that trivia. I got you this weekend, though.
Yes, you did.
I got you this weekend with one trivia question. But we got some exciting things. I got to talk to Mr. Mack. We're lining up his two sons to come on, and one of his sons played with Malcolm Koonce, so that's going to be a lot of fun. And so we got some exciting things coming at you, Smarterfan podcast family. And as we always say, Joe,
stay in the game.
Stay in the game, folks, and see you next week, and be well. Take care.
All right. Good night.
Smarterfan.